Hey everyone, I'm Mackayla, and today on the Soundtrack of Our Lives podcast, we have Erica Diora of Joya Communications.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So, what kind of inspired you to start up your own PR business?
Oh, I think that I had always wanted to start my own business, but it took a while to figure out what I wanted that to be. When I was in high school, I think through high school and college, you're still so young, and so many people are still like figuring out who they are and what they want to do.
Mhm.
But music was always in me, and I always knew I wanted to be in music. But it's not something that you're taught about in school. Like it's
Right.
not something that it's like being a teacher or I don't know, being a doctor. Nobody tells you how to get into the music industry. But yeah, so I started my PR agency because after college, I started a blog because that was the only way I could figure out how to get into music because it combined what I love the most, which is music and writing, which I really enjoy as well. And then from there, discovered PR and I worked for another agency for a while. And then I started my own agency last January.
Yeah, I mean, that's similar to why I created a podcast. I didn't know how to get into the industry and it's things I love. So, I
Yeah,
feel like it's always fun to just kind of start your own thing.
yeah. And when you start your own thing, like when I started my blog, like you have a lot of room to experiment and figure out how things work. And yeah, it's always good to work with other people too, but there's something different like when you're doing it, you're on your own. Like there's no pressure, I guess, to make things perfect unless you're a
Mhm.
perfectionist. And you want everything to be perfect, which was something I had to learn how to work with a little
Yeah.
bit and how to relax a little about certain things. But yeah, it's like when you're able to start your own thing, like I know when I started my blog, and I bet you feel the same way about having started your podcast, like it opened so many doors for me
Mhm.
and allowed me to meet so many people that I would have never met otherwise. So
Yeah, it's such a weird experience to start your own thing because it's such a part of you, but then at the same point, it's also such a part of all of these other people.
yeah, yeah, it's yeah, and you doing the podcast, we're kind of doing the same thing where you're talking
Hmm.
through conversations and I was writing, interviewing and writing. But yeah, you like learning other people's stories and being able to be a part of artists' lives that way, being able to support them. And when it's music you really enjoy and an artist that you really love, it's exciting to be able to be a part of their story that way.
So when did you know it was the right time to kind of branch off and start on your own?
I think, I started feeling like there was more I wanted to do. I think I'm sure so many people feel this way, like when you work for a different company, like, and you have to follow their rules and the way they do things, and you start having your own ideas, and maybe there's like other things you want to experiment with, or
Hmm.
like, so I just felt like there were other things I wanted to do, different ways I wanted to support artists. And so I just felt it was time to just start my own thing. And what was really great is because I started my own agency, before I had clients all over the country. And I never had the chance to work with artists in Connecticut, which is where I live. And when I started my agency last year, I started to get into the Connecticut scene, which has been really cool and fun. And it's something like, I knew Connecticut had a scene, but it's not something I feel like it's not something that's really like you kind of have to look for it
Hmm.
almost because I've lived here my whole life and I didn't really see it anywhere. It
Hmm.
wasn't like in obvious places or I don't know. So yeah, I kind of fell into it when my town does this little free newspaper magazine thing they send out every month. And so there was a record label that was written about in this magazine, which was Black Barrel Records. And that was how I kind of fell into the Connecticut scene. And I'm really grateful that I found them. They've been really great to work with. But yeah, I've just been like loving being able to work with artists on in a closer way. Because before, when I had clients all over the country, and of course, I still work with artists from all over. You had Moy on.
Yeah.
He was in Australia. So, I work with artists from all over the place, but it was different because you're working together virtually and being able to work with bands where you live. Like you can go to their shows and have meetings in person and get to know them as people outside of the music, which helps when you're in a PR campaign. Like you can pull from all these different facets that can help get their name out there and can help them connect with more people. So it's really been really fun. And yeah.
So in terms of PR, people gravitating more towards like radio, blogs, podcasts, social media.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm seeing lately a shift more toward podcasts and video content. When I started,
Hey.
yeah, I know. Yeah, definitely. I like lots and lots of podcasts popping up, which is very cool. I love that, like being on the PR side and promoting bands, like being able to set up interviews with
Mhm.
podcasts. It's great because you have more of like having them being able to have a conversation in that way. And every podcast is different. Some are more conversational, some are, I don't know, like different themes,
Yeah.
different styles, but it just helps artists, I think, connect with people better.
Mhm.
When I started in PR, it was still more blogs and playlisting. But yeah, seeing the podcasts come up has been really cool. And anytime I get to help an artist like make a new connection and help their personalities get seen, like all my clients will try to tell you I'm a broken record, like your personalities, you have to use your personality because it's such an important part of
Yeah.
forming a connection with fans and people.
Mhm.
And the podcasts really are like the perfect way for them to do that. So,
Yeah, because showing your personality kind of just like shows how authentic and genuine you are, and otherwise people can't like connect with it as well.
yes, exactly. So, I'm always, every single client I have, I'm like, this is going to be great. You get to show your personality. You have great personalities. Show it. Like,
So you've almost been around for a little bit under a year. So are there any like notable projects that like really stand out to you as being like your favorite ones that you've done so far or anything like that?
well, I think that every release that I have worked on since last January has been really fun.
Hmm.
I think because like when you start, like you have your own podcast and you're like running your own system of doing things, like you
Yeah.
came up with a whole system and you're running your own business. I'm running my own agency. And so like when you're doing something that's your own, like working with clients under your own company, it's just it's different,
Hmm.
and it's very fulfilling. Like it's been incredibly fulfilling for me to have been able to work with the bands I have. I feel so lucky that I've our paths have crossed. So yeah, like I can't pick a favorite because it's all been so great.
Are there any particular moments that kind of stand out and you're like, wow, I did that?
Oh man. I think, okay, there's two.
Hmm.
So most recently, I mentioned Black Barrel Records, and they recently expanded their record label and they have a recording studio, but they recently expanded into retail and guitar repair and instrument repair. And I was able to get them into a local newspaper and a couple of the bigger Connecticut newspapers, the Connecticut Post and the New Haven Register, which was really exciting for me because that got them in front of so many people,
Hmm.
and which of course is the point of PR is exposure. So, but yeah, I was really happy to be able to do that. for them. It was really exciting. We were all very excited about it, you know. And I think the other one was I had never done a lot in, I had, before I started my agency, I didn't really do radio, but last year I started getting into it a little bit with some of the local colleges, which has been really fun. And so we have some great colleges here in Connecticut. And in the spring, I was working with a band called Fat James, and we were able to set up some interviews at University of New Haven and Quinnipiac. And because they're so close, we were able to go to those in person. And so that was really fun. I had never been able to do that before. So it was something that was new because the experience I had in radio was just setting up airplay. But being able to set up interviews and to be able to do it in person was exciting. And it was a lot of fun. And to be able to be in a radio station and like I said, like that in-person connection with the radio host, which they were both really great. It's just so important for artist development and stuff. So
Mhm.
I was very excited about that.
So going back to last January, what would you tell yourself or what advice would you give yourself when you started out?
You're asking very good questions.
Thank you.
Gosh, that's a good question. I don't know. I think that I would probably say that like everything is going to work out.
Mhm.
And it's everything is going to work out the way it's supposed to. I've always been a big believer in that. Like things happen for a reason. They work out the way they're supposed to. I've had like so many experiences where it's like things just fell into place
Mhm.
or I don't know, but when you're starting your own business, you're kind of starting, you're not starting from nothing, but at least I wasn't starting from nothing, but it's scary. Like it's this
Yeah.
new thing. It's part of you, so it's like your baby, and you have to like grow it and build it and stuff. And I was, it's very intimidating
Mhm.
to to embark on that journey of being a business owner. And like I said, when I opened that magazine with Black Girl Records in it, I was like, because it was almost immediate. Like I left the other agency in the winter of 2022. By January 2023, I was opening that magazine and there was Black Barrel Records and I connected with them and it was like I was like, okay, this was meant to be,
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
yeah. So I would tell myself, don't worry, things are gonna work out. Yeah.
If there's something you wish that the general public understood about PR, what do you think it would be?
I think PR is misunderstood, and I think like if you asked most publicists this question, they would agree because it's something that's hard to describe to other people,
Mhm.
hard to describe in general, and then like if somebody asks you what you do, it's hard to describe. Like I know I'm not the only publicist that feels this way, but I feel like even my own family doesn't really understand what I do. I think too, like sometimes PR gets confused with marketing.
Mhm.
And PR is more about creating awareness than about making sales.
Right.
Can lead to sales, but really, I think that depends on the industry.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think a lot of times too, like people think PR is something that works overnight.
Nope.
And like you get a
I wish.
you get a big feature in some big publication and you're gonna be famous or you're gonna make $1 million or something. But yeah, it's really like it works over time. And you could do a PR campaign like in September and you might not see results until a few months later, or you still might be getting results a few months later. Like
Mhm.
you get an interview somewhere and then you're still seeing the benefits of that down the line. Like all the press that, at least in music, I'm sure in other industries, but I can only speak to music.
Mhm.
You get all these interviews and features and reviews and helps build your online presence. But it's also showing that people care about you. So other people like booking agents, managers, other people in the industry are seeing that you're relevant and that you're worth paying attention to. So it really, I feel like it's something that works kind of stealthily or like
Hmm.
not in the background, but it's like, yeah, it works over time. It's not, you might not see results from it overnight, but
Like an investment.
it's an investment. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
What is something that you wish bands or musicians understood better about PR?
I think that it's not something that can change their lives overnight. And with every client, I'm very realistic and very honest about placements and like if they're a newer band, like, probably not going to get into Billboard right away. And those big like spin, those big publications. But and PR also works together with other things. It works
Hmm.
with your social media marketing, it works with your booking. Like it's all a band's career is a puzzle, and you need to
Yeah.
get all the puzzle, the pieces and fit them together. So everything works together. And I think a lot of bands might forget that sometimes. Like
Hmm.
PR helps, the social media helps, booking and playing shows helps. But if you're just doing one but not the others,
Yeah.
it's not going to be as effective as if you're doing everything together.
Yeah, that makes sense. You can't just focus on one thing.
Yes.
As nice as that would be, but
Yes. I know. I wish, believe me, I wish that I could change lives overnight and, you know, but everything, yeah, it all works together. And I always do my best to get the best features that I can and the best opportunities. But yeah, everything works together.
so what was the like hardest campaign that you've worked on? And then what would you take away from that for the future?
You're asking such good questions. That's a hard one. I think, all the campaigns I've worked on since starting my agency have been good. I think that, sometimes campaigns can be difficult depending on the genre. Like folk might be a little more difficult than rock. Even pop sometimes is more difficult than rock. Rock seems to do very well with PR stuff. I'm a huge rock fan and all shades of rock I really enjoy. But yeah, I think sometimes it depends on the genre. Like I've worked before I started my agency, I've worked with all different genres, like avant-garde, electronic, and you can definitely see differences. Like you get more opportunities with the rock and pop than maybe some of
Mhm.
the other genres. But what was the second part of your question?
And then what would you take away from those harder campaigns?
Okay, so with those campaigns, it's important to not just depend on the music, but like look for other ways you can get coverage. So something yeah, it's important to look at like all facets of a band or an artist and see like where else can we place you that isn't like a music blog,
Mhm.
right? So, um, like I'm trying to think of an example. Oh, perfect example, Black Barrel Records. So one of their bands is the Inside Out. So two of the guys in the Inside Out own Black Barrel Records. So when I've promoted the Inside Out's music, sometimes I will use the fact that they own a record label to get more opportunities because it works together.
Mhm.
And you could get that brings them out of music into business,
Right.
right? So it opens up different podcast opportunities, stuff like that. That makes sense.
That does make sense. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So kind of looking more at the individual instead of the music.
Yes, which is something I've always tried to prioritize. Even when I started my blog, I was writing about the music, but it was always very important to me, like the people behind it,
Mhm.
like how they got into music, why they're making the music they were making, all that stuff. Because you have the music, but then there's the person who's creating it,
Right.
who's just as important. Yeah. So I think it's important to like not forget. that there's like a human behind the songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my favorite parts is kind of because sometimes people will come on and it's kind of fun to like peel that. Like, I guess I don't want to say onion because that seems weird, but like peel the layers.
Yeah.
And like, because the music is obviously the big part, but they're important too. And sometimes they forget that, like, oh yeah, the music is more like I am also important, not just the music, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the person behind it is important. Like I don't know. It's just it's the and I think too is because like when you think about the musicians that you love,
Hmm.
like don't you also like the people that are
I would hope so.
like the music and you like the people.
Yeah.
So, like you see their person again, you see their personalities and what they're doing out maybe outside of music. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, what would you say sets your business apart from other PR agencies?
I think I really, the music business is so much a business
Hmm.
and it's like obviously money driven. And I think like the human element sometimes gets lost in different aspects of the industry. And in PR, I think it can be easy to just like make you're obviously like I'm doing a job, I'm providing a service for
Hmm.
people, but and so are every other PR agency is doing the same thing. But it was important to me to really keep the human element in it and just like to treat my clients as people, not a client,
Hmm.
to be like, gosh, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time because I know it in my head. I know exactly
Yeah,
what
take your
I'm trying
time.
to say in my head and it's not coming out right. But it's like, I don't know, I just feel like I'm a really obviously I'm in music, so I'm very music oriented. I'm creative myself. Like I'm pretty sensitive person too. And so it was important to me to like make that, not make it part of my business, but really just like be able to be like more of a support system, I guess,
Hmm.
for clients because music is hard. Like bands and artists, like they're running their own business and they're wearing a lot of hats and it can get overwhelming very fast. And so I think it's I wanted to make it a priority to be like, you're not in this alone.
Hmm.
I think that it can get very, not isolating, but like I said, overwhelming
Yeah.
for artists. And like they're trying to make their own way. They're trying to figure out what's working on social media, what music is, what songs are resonating with people. And just to be able to be like, I'm here for you. I can
Yeah.
answer your question. I can. Like, you don't have to do this alone. We can figure it out together. I think, I don't know, maybe that's what sets me apart. I haven't worked for a lot of other agencies, but yeah. I know that was that wasn't a good, concise
I
answer,
like
but
it though.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, it
Yeah.
it shows how much you care about the individual.
Yeah. Like, I really care about the music and the people making it. And of course, the name Gioia means joy in Italian, and music has been like my greatest joy, I think. And I'm sure that like musicians feel the same way. So it's important for me to keep that in there too. This is going to be a good time. Like, we're going to have fun and like
I
get your music out there, get you out there, make you shine. Yeah.
like that. That works very well. And I mean, I think anyone listening in can just hear how much you care about
Well,
your clients and the music and everything.
that means so much to me. Thank you.
So, how do you balance because you're running your own business, you've started it. And so, you're kind of part of it 24/7. How do you
Yes.
balance the work-life schedule?
It gets difficult sometimes. It's something I think I've always struggled with. Because I think why I have struggled with it is because I love my work so much and it crosses over with my passion,
Hmm.
which is music. So, like my free time, I love going to shows,
Hmm.
and then my job is music. So it's all the same.
Right.
And so sometimes like you could be like you're working, 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 and then you don't realize you're like, oh, I need to do something else now, right?
Right.
So that's when I'm like, okay, I have to like cook something, or I really love like knitting and crocheting. Like I have to go make a blanket or something, Like I like doing that at night when I'm watching TV.
Me too.
Yeah, it's a good way to like just shift your brain.
Hmm.
And then just going out with friends and like doing something that's not music related, I think. Because yeah, like if I if your brain never got tired of doing one thing, I would just be in music all the time. But
Right.
you need some variety, I think. And so I try to do different stuff.
Hmm.
Read, I like reading, so I'm like, okay, I have to read a book.
Any
I have to
specific
read.
genres?
I really like teen fiction and
Yeah.
like it's just lighthearted and fun to read. Like the world is serious enough. Like I don't need to read like
Yeah.
heavy stuff. Although I do really love John Grisham, like the legal thrillers.
Hmm.
So good. But yeah, teen fiction is just it's a nice
There's just
break.
something almost like magical about it, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like I feel like I'm taking a vacation when I like feels good to read. So, yeah, just doing different stuff like that. Or going like, I don't know, going to the beach or it's now it's September, but
Yeah.
getting outside. Yoga, I love yoga. That is a good for your nervous system
Hmm.
and the stress.
I feel like, yeah, the music industry is kind of a unique one. People don't always think about the work-life balance because your work and your life can both revolve around music.
Yes.
And then there isn't much of a difference.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So then, yeah, I go, oh, it's time to do something else now.
Yeah. It's like, oh, wait, I should have a life outside of music.
Yeah. 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 It definitely gets blurred sometimes. But
Just, I mean, very easy thing to happen, though.
yeah, so easy. Like you don't even realize it's happening. And then you're like, wait.
What have I done that hasn't revolved around music recently?
Yeah. Because sometimes I even end up reading books related to music. Like I love biographies.
Hmm.
So I'm like, oh, let me read this artist's biography. And like, wait, that's still music.
Gotta step away from that for a minute.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So before I ask the last question, was there anything else that you wanted to mention or talk about today?
I don't think so. You asked such good
Oh,
questions.
thank you.
I really enjoyed answering them.
I know I always make like a list of typically like around like 40 questions, and then I sometimes don't even ask any of the questions on the list because of the conversation.
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot of questions. I had no idea you do that many.
I am
Just
a
have.
prepper.
That's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Because I'd rather have 40 questions that never get answered or asked than 10 questions and then I need more.
yes. Yes, when I've done interviews through my blog, there were times like I've done phone interviews or like Zoom interviews and we ended up going through the questions really fast. I'm like, you know,
But you're like,
like
oh no.
yeah. So I love that you prepare and yeah.
I don't think you can ever be too prepared for anything in my mind.
No. No, it's always better to over prepare than under prepare.
Yeah. Okay. So the last question, and you've had more time to prepare than most people because you know what it is. Some people don't. But what is the soundtrack of your life?
That was like I've been thinking about that question and how I was going to answer it, and I was like, gosh, that I really love that question. I know that's like the name of the podcast, but I love that you asked that question to every guest. I think I would say like I'm gonna have two answers
Okay.
because like the name of my agency is Joya Communications, right? Because I'm very connected to my Italian roots. My dad's from Italy. I grew up listening to Italian pop music. So, my first answer, I guess it's going to be just that is like Italian pop because I can't pick one artist,
Mhm.
but that like when I think about when I was growing up, the music that I remember is that because we would listen to it in the car a lot. And I really love it. And as I've gotten older and when I started my blog, I found like all the new artists because that was like the artists we would listen to when I was growing up was like they were from the 80s and 90s or even
Mhm.
before, like the artists my dad grew up listening to, which are all great, but I was like, I need more. You
Yeah.
know, like who's relevant now? Who are the young people now? So, yeah, so I that's a big part of my music library is like Italian pop. So I'd pick that. And then also Bruce Springsteen. Like, I'm just such a fan of his for so many reasons. But I feel like his albums got me through like different moments in my life. Like, I can remember when his album Working on a Dream came out. I was in high school, and high school was not my thing, I guess you would say. So that album really got me through a hard time. And then in college, he released Wrecking Ball. That got me through. I just feel like when he releases albums, it's like the timing is so great. I don't know,
Just
but
writing it for you.
God, he is just. I saw him once in Hartford, amazing, spectacular, amazing. Like he didn't even take a break. He played for I think it was over 3 hours, and I'm like,
Wow.
what on earth is this? Like insane. And I think even when I was in college, I was able to write a paper about him or something. I can't remember now, but one of my favorite English teacher in college, she always found ways to like have us or give us choices to write about literature and music.
Mhm.
Like I remember writing a paper about Lady Gaga, and God, I forgot what we were reading, but that was fun to write about. So anyway, yeah. So the soundtrack of my life includes Italian pop and Bruce Springsteen.
I like it. Fun. So, for all our listeners who want to stay updated on you, follow your PR campaigns, where can they find you?
You could visit my website, which is joyacommunications.com, and visit on Instagram at joyacom.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Thank you.
Have a nice rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.